everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sacha Welsh, founder of Welsh Wellness and certified health coach specializing in preconception, pregnancy, and postpartum. So if you're interested in any of those topics, please subscribe below. Today, we are going to be talking about the best foods to eat in your first trimester. So if you're in your first trimester or you're trying to get pregnant, you definitely want to stay tuned and watch this full video. I'm going to be talking about all the foods that, support the development of the baby from their brain to their physical developments, things that are going to help decrease your risk of miscarriages. It's going to be a good one, so stay tuned. So before I go into all the best foods to eat during your first trimester, I just want to start off by saying the first trimester is super crucial in maintaining the right diet. Why? Well, because your baby is literally under rapid development. So when you first find out you're pregnant, which is really early on, which can be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks typically, your baby is really small. Like I'm talking about the size of like a dot, a seed, a poppy seed, for example. By the time you're at your end of your first trimester, your baby is literally in the shape of a baby. So that just goes to show the type of development that's going on in the first trimester. And as a result, we're really feeling those effects. We are super tired, we're drained, we're hungry all the time, or we're nauseous because our body is not responding to the things we want it to respond to very well. It is a very overwhelming time for pregnant women. And I just want to start off by saying that it's just the most crucial time because there's just so much going on in the first trimester. Okay, so let's hop right in it. Food item number 1 is to eat foods that are really, really high in iron. So iron-rich foods. The reason for this is because our bodies are demanding a lot more blood supply. We're now supplying blood for the baby, and our blood is now carrying the nutrients to the baby. So we need to be able to support that. It's honestly a lot of blood supply that's happening during pregnancy. So in order to support that, you need to eat iron-rich foods, which helps your hemoglobin levels and therefore helps with all the blood supply. So iron-rich foods also help with the fatigue during your first trimester. We can feel a lot of fatigue due to all the rapid development that's happening with the baby and what's happening with the blood supply. So fatigue is a common one with low iron. And also it helps towards the development of the nervous system of the baby. So iron-rich foods are super, super crucial, not just during the first trimester, during all of your trimesters, and especially during your postpartum phase, but especially during the first trimester for those reasons I just mentioned. So iron-rich foods include dark leafy greens. So think spinach, kale, Swiss chard, all of those dark leafy greens are very high in iron. It includes dark chocolate. That's a very, very high source of iron. Oats, if you have oatmeal on a regular basis, that's a very high source of iron too. It includes red meat, grass-fed red meat particularly, which carries more nutrients as opposed to conventional meat. So if you're a meat eater, invest in grass-fed as much as you can. It also includes brewer's yeast. Brewer's yeast is, you can eat that in a powder form, get it at your local health food store, and you can add it in addition to certain foods that you're eating, maybe add it into a bake or add it into some soups or something like that. It is a pretty bitter, bland taste, but it's a really, really rich source of iron. So that's a really quick way to just boost up your iron without having to take iron supplements. Food item number 2, brain food. So it's probably pretty obvious from what I said earlier in the video, but in the first trimester, your baby is under rapid development, so therefore it's developing all of its organs, including the brain. So brain development is super crucial, obviously, for a healthy baby. And in order to support brain development, you want to focus on brain foods. So brain foods include a lot of healthy fats, particularly omega-3 fatty acids. So during that week of your first trimester, when the brain is rapidly developing, and if I remember correctly, I think it's around week 6 where the brain is just like developing millions of brain cells at once. You want to focus on foods like nuts and seeds, oily fish like salmon and sardines. You want to focus on avocado is a great healthy fat source, as well as eggs. Eggs are another great omega-3 fatty acid food. One thing I do want to say though is that you want to try and make your eggs fully cooked, especially with your whole pregnancy, but especially in the first trimester, because your risk of salmonella is just increased. I mean, actually contracting it is very low and extremely rare, but the risk is still there. So I do advise to try and have your eggs as fully cooked as possible. Okay, moving on to food item number 3, you want to try and eat folate-rich foods. So I just want to start by saying look at folate foods rather than a folic acid supplement. Folic acid is actually the synthetic version of folate. Folate is the real food source. So folate is a group of B vitamins, so it's also known as vitamin B9. But you want to focus on folate-rich foods because it helps to prevent any birth defects, especially in the neurotube development area. So it's really important, especially in the first trimester. So if you're not pregnant yet, I suggest eating folate-rich foods before you conceive, minimum 4 months before you conceive, and definitely in the first trimester, do not give that up. If you're having a hard time eating because of nausea, take your supplements that have enough folate in it, and make sure the supplements say folate as opposed to folic acid. It's very, very important. Folate-rich foods include greens. Just think greens. So dark leafy greens. You've got some broccoli, which is really rich in folate, asparagus, avocado. Think greens. Those are your really good sources of folate. And again, if you have any questions on folate, check out my prior video on what to look for in a prenatal video. Just go to my playlist and check it out there. And I go into a lot more detail on why folate is so important and what you need to look for. So food item number 4 includes vitamin D foods. So there's not too many vitamin D foods, so it's always recommended to take vitamin D supplements in addition to the foods that you're eating on a daily basis. But basically, vitamin D is so important during the first trimester because it does help with the physical and intellectual developments of the baby. Vitamin D has also shown to be linked to miscarriages. So there are some studies that show the links between a low vitamin D concentration in your blood and miscarriages. So it's very, very important to take it before you're pregnant, to eat vitamin-rich foods, and to continue to take it during the implantation stage and during your first trimester, just for healthy progression during your pregnancy. Having a diet and lifestyle rich in vitamin D, and when I say lifestyle, I mean being in the sun at all times. So if you're in a climate like me in Canada, where you have a fall, winter, and spring, and you're not going to be getting enough vitamin D source from the sun, supplements is definitely needed for that. But to go back to what I was saying, having a diet and lifestyle rich in vitamin D also helps you to absorb calcium, and calcium has shown really, really great effects during the first trimester. So you can't really absorb calcium without enough vitamin D into your bloodstream. So vitamin D supplements and vitamin D rich foods are super important. As calcium, if we're going to just quickly switch to calcium for a second, calcium has shown to help pregnancies progress really, really well. So from the fertilization of the egg right through to the full term. So calcium is really needed during the first trimester, preconception, and in the later parts of pregnancy. Vitamin D foods include eggs, and it also includes dairy. Most dairy is fortified with vitamin D, so yogurt, cheese, and milk. If you're not a dairy person, then I strongly suggest investing in supplements that provide a minimum of 1,000 international units per pill. And depending on where you live and depending on the color of your skin, because all those are factors into how much vitamin D you should eat, it depends how much you should be taking throughout the day. But for average, I would say take a minimum of 1,000 to 2,000 international units per day. But again, talk to your health practitioner first. And last but not least, food item number 5 are vitamin B6 rich foods. So this vitamin is associated with nausea or morning sickness. So most pregnant women that experience morning sickness is likely because they have a deficiency in vitamin B6. This is not always the case, but there has been a strong correlation between the two. So you want to make sure you're eating vitamin B6 foods as much as possible to decrease your chances of having nausea or even having the sickness develop into vomiting. So vitamin B6 foods include bananas, ground flax seeds, and meat. Most meats have a very good source of vitamin B6. So I'm talking poultry, so chicken and turkey, and I'm talking pork, and I'm talking red meat. They have a very good source of vitamin B6, which can help curb that nausea that you may be feeling during your first trimester. If you're feeling morning sickness, I also suggest to eat in small quantities throughout the day instead of having large big meals like a big breakfast, big lunch, big dinner. Try and eat small quantities throughout the day, because what you want to do is manage your blood sugar level as much as possible, because when there's a big drop in your blood sugar level, there comes the nausea. So you want to make sure it's maintained as much as possible by eating as often as possible, and eating especially vitamin B6 foods. That's it, guys. There you have it. The best foods to eat during your first trimester. So if you like this video, please show me some love and give me a thumbs up. Click the notifications bell if you want to see more videos from me. And most importantly, subscribe, especially if you're interested in preconception, pregnancy, and postpartum health tips. But until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.